Good morning again. This month we're using the book by Wayne Dyer, Your Sacred Self. And the chapter that I'm about to share with you is called Cultivating the Witness. And when I thought about that, cultivating the witness, the first thing that came to my mind, and you might think this is weird, but years ago we lived on a big house on a hill in Lake California. We were 70 feet above the Sacramento River. And it was a big cliff, but we had a little yard and then this beautiful house. And one hot summer day, some kids were down under the cliff and they started a fire. And we saw the smoke coming up, so we called 911. And we have our own fire department in Lake California, so they were there in just a couple minutes. Well, the team came, the firefighters came, and they looked over the edge and they started laying out hose. Well, they had one new recruit, I'll call it, one newbie. He was so excited. He grabbed the hose and he leapt off the cliff. He jumped over the cliff, crashed through trees and brush, and ended up down on the beach at the river and broke his leg. And there's no way to get to him. So the other firefighters are going, now we've got two problems. So they had to call a helicopter to get this young firefighter who was so enthusiastic he was going to save the world. But he didn't think. So the first thing I thought about in reading this, Cultivating the Witness, was, in our minds, a lot of times there's two conversations going on. Like right now, I'm thinking, am I on the right place in my talk, and do I want to clip this one sentence? Do I want to change a paragraph while I'm talking to you about this? So there's two conversations we often have going on. One is the immediate one, what's going on in front of me, and the other is like a witness, just watching, giving advice, reviewing the situation, helping to share with me what I might want to think about doing. So while for the new firefighter, he was trying to save the world, he didn't assess the situation, he didn't agree with his buddies on what they would be doing, and he just went to work. Well, sometimes this voice in my mind says, wait a minute, pause there and think about this. Detach from your emotion about the moment. Detach from your feelings. Detach from the behavior that wants you to just jump in. Step back a little bit. Step back and witness what's going on. And from that place, you'll make a much better decision. Wayne Dyer tells a story about one of his clients who was suffering from terminal sadness. She was just sad 24 hours a day for months and months and months. From the moment she woke up to the moment she went to bed at night, she was sad. And here's what he asked her. Is the one noticing the depression depressed? Is the one noticing it depressed? And she thought about that and she said, no, really. When I notice I'm depressed, that notice voice isn't depressed. And that's often what happens. And so he said, if you stick with the witness, over time, the ego will let go of that sadness. And after a few months, that's exactly what happened. So we have this witness. It's really our higher self. Really our higher self. Another word for the witness is noticing. Noticing, when you notice something, like when I walked in and noticed Storm stood up, it's an energy. I just felt instant energy, instant happiness, instant excitement. When we notice something, that's that space. It creates a space for our spiritual higher self to come through. And a spiritual teacher, his name was Maharaj, he described it like this. In my world, nothing ever goes wrong. Nothing ever goes wrong. That's the world of the higher self. While in human form, we go, how often does nothing not go wrong? And yet in the spiritual world, that higher self, the witness, nothing changes. It's all perfection. When I was a chaplain associate at Shasta Regional Medical Center, my favorite place to do rounds was in the ER. And I loved it because in a hospital, everyone is cultivating the witness. You do not see doctors and nurses screaming and going, "Oh my God, oh my God." They're centered in being the witness. They're totally centered. That takes a lot of training because when you cultivate the witness, your higher self is on display. I would walk into the ER, they would hear on the radio an ambulance is coming. The ambulance people would say, "Here's what the situation is." They would prepare for it. The ambulance would come. The people would go out and take care of the person who was ill. And when they brought the person in, if they had to change their plan, they would just change their plan. And if there was a chaplain available and things were difficult and the family was there and the family was freaking out, they would go, "A chaplain, would you please come in and sit with the family?" And as a chaplain, I immediately had to go into the witnessing consciousness. Who am I to help anybody if I'm freaking out about what happened to their daughter or their family one or their friend? So in that instant of putting on the chaplain's hat, you witness, you listen, you notice where they're hurting, and then you invite your higher self to give you the right words. And they always come through because you know what? That higher self is right here. It's not there, it's right here. And so when you're trained and paying attention that you can tap into that at any moment, it's an amazing, amazing gift. It means we appear a little detached. We're not jumping in, hugging, crying. It appears we're a little detached, but we're the observer. Where can I and my higher self be of most help? One time, Dr. Shandamuli, he's the local heart surgeon, famous heart surgeon. He talked with our chaplain group, and we said, "Do you do any spiritual practices?" And he said, "Oh, yes. Every morning, the first thing I do in my office is I meditate. And then before I do any surgery, I pray for divine guidance. I pray that at any moment, I know exactly what to do." Wouldn't you love to have a doctor like that? Amazing. Always in touch with the higher self, always listening. I thought I would do that, but now I should do this. So we were very impressed, obviously. So anytime, any day, you can cultivate and encourage your higher self to be very, I don't want to say with you because it's in you, but to be alert to it and to listen to it, to pay attention to it. Maharaj put it this way: give your higher self full attention. Examine it with loving care, and you will discover heights and depths of your being which you did not dream of. Now, for a minister and practitioner, that's juicy. Discovering the heights and depths of being which you did not dream of. But then he has to put this little thing at the end, and I thought, He said, instead of being engrossed as you are in your puny image of yourself. Didn't need that, but I thought, okay, thanks. Just a good reminder. So every day, if we pay attention to what bothers us, turn around and go, why does that bother me? Why does that bother me? Because the higher self, the witness, doesn't have any problems. It's only us that has these problems. And so problems come and go for our conscious mind. But for our higher self, there's never a problem. There's always an answer. It's kind of like this story. A king asked a wise man, what will make me happy when I'm sad? And what will make me sad when I'm happy? And the wise man went away for a few days, and he came back with a ring, and inscribed on this ring were the words, this too shall pass. When you're happy, it will pass. When you're sad, it will pass. Great wisdom. Wayne Dyer described a time in his life when he had so many deadlines and so many programs and so many books to write and so many places to be. He would get so worried, he'd make himself sick, he'd have stomach trouble. And then he found out about the power of being the witness, and he started witnessing these deadlines and going, what am I doing to myself? What am I really doing to myself? So he started observing the deadlines and detaching himself and being confident, I'll make it, I'll make it. I trust my higher self to help me make that deadline. So I tried it this week. We had some snow in Lake California. When I left here at 3:30, it was 59 degrees. When I got to Lake California Drive, it was 38 degrees. And the snow was blowing, and got home, and in the morning there was ice on most of the mailbox was just coated with ice, and the roads had icy spots. And I had an 8 a.m. appointment in Redding. Well, just getting out of Lake California that time of day is always hazardous. There's always a line of cars like crazy, and everybody's looking for the icy spots. Then I got to I-5, and it was a lot slower than usual. So at first I'm going, oh, I hate to be late, I hate to be late. And of course, what is you're focused on being late. And so I went, okay, higher self, I am on time every time. I'm observing the traffic. I'm not cussing the traffic. I'm being the observer. I'm witnessing myself calmly driving to my appointment, and I was there 1 minute early. So I had to laugh and I had to smile, because it is that easy. When we're hung up on being late or any problem, what are we giving it? Energy. So we release, we witness, we detach, and we trust in our higher power. Carl Sandburg said, something began me, and it had no beginning. Something will end me, and it has no ending. That's the higher self, that's the soul. Something began me, and it had no beginning. Something will end me, and it has no ending. That's the changeless part of ourself that never changes. And it's very valuable, because if we can catch ourselves judging other people, places, or things, oh, that's when we get into it. But there's no need to judge anyone, because they've all been made from something that always existed. You know, everything in life is energy. This podium's energy, the microphone's energy, the chair you're sitting on is made of energy, little atoms going around. And when we're here and talking with one another, we're exchanging energy. We're picking up your energy and you're picking up my energy, and we are exchanging energy. So all of these energy exchanges, they get stored in our subconscious mind. And if you've been here a while, you know that. The subconscious mind holds in it all our thoughts, beliefs, everything that's ever happened to us. And it holds that. And not all of that energy is positive. Do you believe that? That's true. All of our negative energy is stored there too. And so when we feel like we're getting a little bit lethargic energy, we've got too much of that negative energy stored there. It's overbearing. Something to think about. And that's why in South America and Mexico, a lot of the spiritual teachers over time taught something called recapitulation. I looked up that word, and it says summing up. So they had a process where they would sum up their negative energy. How much negative energy am I storing? How often no matter what happens, I have a negative reaction, a negative judgment? How often does that happen? And they would spend time looking at that. How did that negative energy evolve? How did it feel at that time when whatever happened, happened? And then they would call on the higher self and say, I want to look at it from your eyes. I want to see that experience or whatever that negative energy is about. I want to see it from your higher perspective. And then we take it all in. It's not just about me. It's about everybody and everything that was experienced in that moment. And that's when it dissipates, because we see those experiences from a higher viewpoint. And now we can see everybody's perspective, not just our own. And I remember as a child, didn't know if I wanted to share this, but hey, we're talking about witness. I was in 3rd grade at St. Joseph's Catholic School in Springfield, Ohio. My teacher was Sister Mary Agnes. She yelled constantly, and every week she broke at least 2 3-foot rulers across the backs of the boys in the class when they didn't answer the right question. She never hit the girls, but she would get in their face and yell. And it wasn't long before I was so petrified. I had to walk to the school bus, and I'd be halfway to the school bus, and I would throw up and go home. By the end of the school year, I had missed over half the year. I was so petrified. But for some reason, Paul asked me, why didn't you tell your mom and dad? I said I was petrified of telling my mom and dad because they paid all this good money for me to go to this school. And I just said, I just don't feel good. So they would take me to doctor after doctor. Finally, one doctor said, oh, she's got rheumatic fever, don't worry about it. And I went to summer school and I was thrilled. I made it through that time. So as I was working on this talk, I'm wondering, how much negative energy did that 8-year-old put in my subconscious mind about Sister Mary Agnes? And I thought, well, quite a bit, actually. I could have been traumatized forever, honestly. But something happened, and it was hard to put my finger on it until I was writing this talk. Because all of a sudden, that was 3rd grade. All of a sudden, it was the first day of 5th grade. And we're all in the playground, and the principal's reading off your name and what line to go stand in for your class. And I saw Sister Mary Agnes. And I knew it. I got this lump in my throat. I knew it was inevitable. Mary McIver, go to Sister Mary Agnes's line. I just remember it like it was yesterday. You know, I wanted to run. I wanted to throw up. While she was still breaking rulers over the boys' backs, I can still see them flinching and going, what in the heck's going on? And the first week of class, she caught me in the coat room and she pushed me up against the wall and she said, are you still afraid of me? And I said, no, I'm not. That was that. She never did that again. And then I guess I had matured enough. But actually, it was probably my 4th grade teacher because she was so wonderful, very empowering. And I think it was her, but I can't even put it, she wasn't a nun. She was a regular person, and she was very empowering. And I think that helped me find the courage to stop being afraid of Sister Mary Agnes. Paul was shocked when I told him that story. But you know, you grow up Catholic, you have these little stories. And anyway, they don't do that anymore. So we have a choice how we view everything. If we can invite the witness consciousness in to watch it, to observe it, to detach ourselves from it, we simply notice. And if we feel that something shouldn't be happening, who are we to know? We just become the silent witness. We're watching it. Maslow, in his hierarchy that he wrote about, he described this as the highest functioning level of ourselves, where we're independent of even the good opinions people have of us. Even the good opinions people have of us. So you know that I watch world events, community events, nationwide events every day. I read a lot about that. And I'm always filled with curiosity. How's it going to turn out? I really wonder. How's this Venezuela thing going to turn out? And so sometimes I'm compelled to write a letter about it, and sometimes I'm just compelled to pray about it, and sometimes I just watch and see. Usually I fold up a newspaper and I think, well, they're just going to do what they're going to do. And sometimes then I can easily walk away from it because really I don't have much control over anybody in politics. But sometimes I write a letter to make me feel good. But Dyer says this, if we can be a global witness, which shocked me because I think that's what I've been doing, if we can be a global witness, we can actually help create a collective energy of peace. If we can watch without judgment, watch without fear, be the observer, ask for the higher knowing, the higher good, we can help be a collective energy of peace. Because the truth is, hate and anger is not going to stop war. It's not. It perpetuates it. This is one of the things Centers for Spiritual Living teaches us ministers and practitioners. When you meet with a minister or practitioner, we listen to what's going on with you. And you never hear us going, oh my God, that's horrible. At least I hope you don't ever. We may wonder inside, okay, God, I need that higher consciousness. I need to be the witness here. But you get in a habit of it, and it becomes a wonderful habit. Sometimes people think we're unfeeling. That's not it. No, we're tapping that higher level of the witness, being the observer, because we want the higher knowing to show us, to tell us, to give us the words in a prayer to help heal that in you. So if you didn't know that, I hope you think how cool that is, because it takes a long time to be able to do that. So when we're in the witness consciousness, we have a calmness about us. And we're looking to find that negative pocket of energy, like my third grade pocket of negative energy. Somewhere, there's a pocket of negative energy that has got you disconnected from the higher self. That's what we're looking for. We want all of us to be part of the spiritual revolution in the world. It's so exciting to think of it. Because in that world of higher consciousness, nothing ever goes wrong. We know that everything that happens to us is in divine order. That's the practice of a minister and a practitioner. And I really liked what Reverend Sue talked about last week about letting go of doubt. We have to banish doubt. We have to know, could we ever really want to doubt God? Would we want to doubt infinite intelligence? No. There's a perfection there that's going on. And when we get rid of doubt, anything is possible. But being a witness without doubt is the true ticket to freedom in your life. You witness it, you watch it, you let the higher consciousness come through us. It's the ticket to freedom. The spiritual path is where we learn we don't have problems. We are not our frustrations. We are not even this physical body, really. It's just made up of zillions of atoms and cells and juicy things moving around. We are that which is noticing it all. That's who we are. So let's pray about that. It kind of feels profound right now when I say God is all there is and we're one with God. When I can up that, I can increase that energy in my life, knowing this truth about the witness, about noticing. Knowing there is this higher level of energy that has created us, and that we as a soul will go on forever. So what's this life all about? And for me, it's about not only learning myself how to be in this world in a positive vein of action, in a positive way of being. And it's taken a lot of learning. But now I can be of help wherever possible in sharing this, that we all have the higher self in, through, and around us. It's imminently available anytime we ask. So I encourage all this week to ask. Whatever you think is a problem, ask. Whatever you think is a frustration, ask, what is the higher knowing here? What is the truth about this issue? And when we see the whole picture of the whole truth from all sides, all venues, it dissipates. The one observing does not have depression. The one observing does not have a problem. I accept that guardian in my life, that guide in my life, in every moment. No, it's always there. So I give great gratitude for all that I've learned this week, for all that I've let go of from even my childhood, for all that brings me to, I believe, right now it feels a higher level of consciousness than yesterday. But there's more to go, more to see, more to do, more to be. So in this level of excitement that I have, I invite you to have it too. It's a brand new day. And we can live life in a brand new way, in partnership with our higher self. Thank you, God, for revealing this to all of us. I accept it for myself and you. And so it is.